St. Louis, Missouri, Atlanta, Georgia, Cincinnati, Ohio, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, Indianapolis, Louisiana, Minneapolis, Indiana, I'm sorry, Topeka, Kansas, Greenville, North Carolina, Tennessee, Baltimore, Maryland, Scottsdale, Arizona, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Buffalo, New York, and Kansas City, Missouri, home of the Kansas City Chiefs. Welcome to lunch with the Missouri Latino Congress for a beautiful February the 4th. We have a radio month, and we have to be here. And I thank you so much. We have some technical difficulties today. Thank you for staying with us. But my name is Ira Poach, your host, creator, along with Elder Aldo Lyles and Chuck DeBoe, and also Scott Owens, our engineer, who's going to get headaches today. And we are broadcasting live on FreedomUSA.com on beautiful Western Terrace, Los Angeles, and also Arnold, Missouri. And today we are happy to have as our prayer for today Elder Aldo Lyles, who's the pastor of the Walnut Park Ballard Catholic Church, located at 5547 47th Avenue, Los Angeles, at 6120. And again, the voice you hear that of Elder Aldo Lyles, who's the pastor of the Walnut Park Ballard Catholic Church, that's located in Los Angeles, at 5547th Avenue, 6120. The next voice you hear will not be mine, but be Elder Aldo Lyles, who's the pastor of the Walnut Park Ballard Catholic Church, located at 5547th Avenue. Elder Lyles, how you doing, sir?
Fine.
And how
That's how it is.
Yes, sir.
Heavenly Father, we continue to thank you for waking us up this morning. You didn't have to, but you did. You woke us up to a day we never seen before. And we thank you for that. All over the universe, you woke up people, Heavenly Father. And Heavenly Father, we know you can do everything but fail. And we know you always on time. And we just thank you for what you have done, what you're going to do, and what you're still doing. And look in on the sick, Heavenly Father, and bless, and the gospel continue to go forward. In Jesus' most precious name, amen.
Well, Lyles, thank you for that beautiful prayer, sir, and also always that prayers on blessings down. So what do you have for us today, sir?
About the world. I'm still talking on the world. Get your pencils ready. I'm in Romans, the first chapter, and verse 21. It said that the top of this, the 7 stages of Gentile world apostasy. And that apostasy is those 17 attributes of the works of the flesh. And here's some more of them. That's why the world waxing worse and worse. Because here's some more of it right here. Because when they knew God, they glorified him not as God. That's what they doing now. Neither were they thankful, but became vain in their imagination, and their foolish heart was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools, and changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like the corruptible man, to birds and 4-footed beasts and creeping things. Wherefore, God also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause God gave them up unto vile affection. For even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature. The women's doing that, and the men too. And likewise, also, the men leaving the natural use of the woman, burn in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves the recompense of their error, which was me. They doing that right now presently as I speak.
Yes, sir.
And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whispers, backbiters, haters of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of God, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. And that right there is what's going on in the world right now as I speak.
That's a mouthful, real, right there. That's a whole mouthful. Yes, it is. But it's the truth, though. So is that it right there for today?
Yeah, that's it for today.
Okay, well, right now we kind of, by the way, we have some technical difficulties. Well, we can blame on the satellites, up there, for those who know, but we'll take a small break. Listen to USAHotTalk.com. Yes, Scott, what you
We can't take any break right now. I don't have any control.
Okay, we'll keep right on going then. Well, right now we're gonna make adjustments as we go on. Right now, okay, most of the world, especially in this country, is talking about this satellites. This actually is not a satellite, but it's a balloon that is flying over the country. Matter of fact, it was over St. Louis yesterday, sort of out in Kansas City. And it's kind of, getting everyone's attention. But again, the United States is, if you look at the travel, the path that it went through, people are aware in Bills, Montana, there's a lot of silos from missiles up there. You went over to Kansas City where we have a big base, for our fighters there. Now to the St. Louis where we have Scott Air Force Base. There's a lot of places that is going, and they're saying it's out of control, okay, but you never know. But one thing, that's out of our hands. But one thing we do know that we're happy to say that in the world of COVID-19, that things are fairly being answered. In fact, the COVID-19 hospitalizations are dropping by almost 20%, and that is a very good thing. That's because people have been wearing their masks, but we're still right now right behind on getting our vaccine. But the only way we can continue to keep those numbers going down is keep those getting vaccinated. You can also continue to wear your face mask. And also, by the way, wash your hands. We've been saying that for a long time. That's something that you learn as a small kid, how to make sure you wash your hands, and those are some common things, but people don't even do things like that. And also, we want to tell you that as you move past here, that this past week, we got some good news the other day that the unemployment rate is the lowest it's been since 1969. It's down to 3.4%. By the way, the jobs are over 517 new jobs were created. And we're talking about jobs, and this is kind of interesting why these jobs are being created. Jobs in the IT industry, high-tech industry, they're laying off. But right now, the hotel industry, the leisure industry, professional business and services, even government healthcare, they all are seeing great news, which is a good thing for us right now. So we're happy that that's some good news there. Also, something that we can't forget was that this past week down in Memphis, Tennessee, the young man, Tyrone Nichols, who was brutally beaten and killed. Well, yesterday, the sixth police officer was fired down there, and there has been much discussion why this had taken place sooner. But now, all this could possibly be avoided. Right now, we all need the federal government, and I said the federal government, to pass the George Floyd Act that would allow all this to not be in a situation right now. Because now the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act of 1920 was sponsored back then, okay, by former Congresswoman Karen Bass, who's now the mayor of Los Angeles, California, it was established a framework to prevent and remedy racial profile of police officers. But the biggest thing it was done, it was taking away qualified immunity, which means police officers will be responsible for their actions. They can lose their homes, they can lose their savings, they can lose their cars, they can be sued when they do something wrong. And these officers right now that think they've been fired, well, they're going to be dealt with. There's still a lot of other places around the country. I know personally, in my family, my grandson was beat in the Carolinas this past year. So this stuff continues to go on. And so we know we got to fight this no matter where you are, it's taking place. And also, we have to understand that we as a people have to report things we see them in our neighborhood. Now, everybody said don't snitch. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's not snitching when you're protecting your own self. I know here in St. Louis and around the country, unemployment rates are up because people they can't find jobs. Well, some places people just don't know or have the skills. But there are training programs now that get the skills that you would need that you can be able to get a good job. You can be able to go someplace and get some training. And sometimes a job is when you're making like $6, $8, $10 an hour, $15 an hour. Well, that's kind of hard to know. If you're a single mother, a young child, you got to put that child in daycare. Then you got to figure out to get gas. You got to feed them. And if they're in school, they got to get them clothes. But right now, we got to see the minimum wage got to increase. But one of the things now is that we got to train. And the good thing about the Biden administration is that there is now opportunities for you to go to school and you train at the same time. So right now, that's a very good thing that you can do. And also, as you have to look out, for your other members of your family. And I know I'm talking kind of fast, which is not my way of talking. But right now, some of the good news for the Democrats and the Black and Democratic Party, that this morning the Democrats voted to move their first primary to South Carolina, which is a very good thing. Because in the past, the primary would have been in Iowa, which is a very cold state. Where blacks, very few, but now we get a chance to lead off the primaries for the Democrats, and then being black will have a chance to be involved with picking and choosing the president of the United States. Now, we had some technical difficulties when we came on the air, and we're still dealing with those even as we speak. And normally you can certainly have our thumbnail up where Scott can tell us who we are, real picture, my picture, Scott's picture. And also we have a picture of our guest today, Mr. Michael Grayson. Dr. Grayson, how you doing, sir?
Excellent. How you doing this afternoon?
Well, Doctor, I am doing well. In the Midwest here, our weather changed so much. Yesterday we was in the 20s, like last night we were down in almost in the 20s a couple of days, and today we're gonna be in the 50s. And the day before, it was up and down, up and down. So we have times usually down here, and right now I am the victim of my own self with my voice, okay. But having said that, sir, matter of fact, where are you located at?
I'm in Tennessee. I'm here right outside of Memphis.
Okay,
so
great,
we have
okay.
the same thing, up and down, crazy weather.
Yeah. Well, if you're in Memphis, Doctor, you're very close to a project that we're working on in Haytown, Missouri.
Okay.
Which is about 100 miles from Memphis, Tennessee. And that's something we're working on for the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. And by the way, the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, has been around since 2015, and we have been able to do a lot of things, for our black community. And that's why today I felt such an honor to have you come on. One of the things in the black community, at some point in time, our black community, and not just the black community, really has been a problem for most people. And when the pandemic came in, it didn't exactly help make things better for people, okay? because there's a great loss of jobs. And some good paying jobs are going away. And some low paying jobs are going away. And one good thing came of this was, there was some benefits, from the Biden administration. Excuse me, that helped us out. But still, okay, when you try to get back into your business life, you try to get a job. One thing they're going to ask you about it, they're going to tell you this, okay, at the time. They're going to check on your credit rating and see if your credit rating is. And this is one of the things that people are not aware of. That when you talk about credit, we don't always see the whole picture of what credit actually means. So, Dr. Grayson, you've been a very much educator about this, and you have done things around the country. So right now, we're going to tell us a little bit about who you are, how you got it where you are now, sir.
Okay, my name, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Michael P. Grayson. I am head of a company called Credit and Debt Management Institute. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we work with financial literacy.
That's a big word.
Well, we have all 3 credit industry records. So we are at the top of the food chain. We have the record for the highest credit score in the world. So we've been very fortunate.
Well,
the algorithm for credit restoration. So, the FICO system, which started in 2000, is based on an algorithm. So it takes an algorithm to beat an algorithm.
Okay, now, Doc, let's digress, okay? You said algorithm. Explain what does that mean?
Okay, so in the new credit system starting in 2000, your credit has 5 components. Your credit used to basically be, do you pay your bills on time? So before 2000, if I said, hey, do you have good credit and you pay your bills on time, you could say yes. But now in the FICO system, you have to know all 5 components of your score so that you understand what your credit score is. So now I'm asking you, what is your credit score? And for the record, if you have less than a 720 credit score, you have bad credit. If you have less than 720.
Okay, now, Doctor, let's break this down, okay? Why did they make that change back in 2000? Why was the change?
Well, there's a lot of speculation, but essentially the new credit scoring model gives them control over credit. It gives them the total control that they want. So we were getting to a point in time where you basically had unilateral access to capital. So one thing that the credit score does, it makes segregation and discrimination legal. So now, if you don't, this is what people know. 80% of African Americans have bad credit. So if I put a credit score requirement on certain situations, it helps me to eliminate, African Americans from consideration. Let me give you an example. So Nissan Credit got sued by the federal government for discrimination because they weren't giving enough loans to minorities and African Americans. So their defense was, and the reason they didn't get fined, is they argued that African Americans have bad credit. So that's why we're not giving them a loan, or that's why every loan that they get is at a super high interest rate. Same with credit card companies. They're giving you, the average interest rate is over 20%, which is scary when you consider that every credit card company has a 0% interest rate. So credit scoring is a tool to keep you away from money.
Okay, now Dr. Grayson,
you don't understand it.
Okay, Dr. Grayson, let's kind of dig a little deeper into this, if you don't mind. Okay. Now, in 2000, the whole world changed. Okay, but most people wasn't aware of this change.
Yes.
Especially in the Black community. So now,
correct.
Who came to the conclusion that there needed to be a change?
Well, this is a one world system, and it's the top 1% of the population, the banking class, that determines the direction of the economy. So, the credit system helps them keep control of the middle class. It helps them to moderate the middle class. The United States has the last true middle class anywhere in the world, and this new credit system is actually destroying the middle class and shrinking the middle class. So this is a tool that they can use to do the things that they really want to do, and that is control you. It's economic slavery. It's brilliant. I used to teach a class, and I told the class that Pharaoh invented the credit system because Pharaoh invented a system where free people act like slaves. So that's where we are today. So you're free, but you live like a slave. You have to work 2 jobs. Your family is hungry. You're living in substandard housing. That is not what free people do. That's what slaves do. So the financial slavery system, the credit system, is intrinsically tied to financial slavery.
Okay, now, Doctor, I'm going to take you deep, okay? You just said that we could go back to Pharaoh. And so in this country, we're looking at it from a black perspective. That's what we're going. That's why I'm going with this. So now, and when I was in school, right now we are having the lowest unemployment rate since 1969. And that's going back a while. And I came out of high school in 1968. And so now, 1968, they had we were taught. In some schools, they had economics, what they call it, they taught economics, and all that was taught to us back then. I hear what you're saying was changed over in the year 2000. That just went away overnight, so to speak.
Yes.
And then a new system appeared. Am I right?
Well, can I tell you something scary, though?
Yeah, please.
Okay, this is scary. A lot of people can't handle this reality. But
Dr. When I show
back to
we go. We want to say, see, Doc. Let me say to you, okay? When I was a young man, they had a program called Dragnet, and on Dragnet, they taught us just the facts, okay? Okay. Right now,
in order to bring in the FICO system, you needed it's a one world system based on algorithms. So you had to update all the computer hardware and software all over the world at one time, which was very expensive. Okay. So back in 2000, the world upgraded their hardware and software. They spent trillions doing it. You paid for your tax dollars, but they didn't want to tell you that they were using this tool to bring in the credit system to enslave you. So what did they tell you? Why did they tell you in 2000 they upgraded all the computer hardware and software?
They didn't tell us.
Yeah, they told you it was the Y2K bug. They told you that the clock, when they hit 0, all the computers are going to blow up. Remember?
Oh, Doc, wait a minute. Let's go back here, okay? Oh, my God. I'm okay. Yep. I know. I'm around the world, okay, they were saying that, at midnight of 1999, okay, at midnight, okay, so there was some changes, when the computer systems, okay, and people were saying that they don't travel because, the clocks and the watches, and, there's all this going on, okay, but I don't recall anywhere anybody saying nothing about what you just started talking about.
Of course not. But think about it like this. The computer is a system. So if you believe that once the clock hit 12 o'clock, the computer is going to shut down, couldn't you just advance the clock on the computer and know exactly what it's going to do?
make good sense.
Of course. Let me tell you something, right? Like, people talk a lot of smack about Bill Gates, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Bill Gates was going to he was going to make a public announcement and say that Y2K was a hoax. And he was going to let you know what they were really doing. So I'm going to ask you if you remember. They did something to Bill Gates to shut him up back in 2000 because you know, he's rich. So he said, "Listen, I'm in the computer business. I'm not an idiot. So I know that if once the clock's at 12 midnight, nothing's going to happen. So why you know, saying that about my industry? If it was a problem, Bill Gates would have came up with a solution, right? So he said, the truth is they're going to bring in the FICO system. How did they stop him back in 2000? Let's see if you can remember.
Well, I think, he became one of the first billionaires, in this country, for one way. You know, and they allowed him to use his system. No,
this is what happened. Let me tell you what happened. Go back and Google this. Right around 1999, the federal government sued Microsoft and Bill Gates for monopoly. They said, "You're too big, you're too powerful. We're going to break your company up into small pieces."
I remember that, yes.
Did they ever break him up into small pieces? Of course not. And Microsoft is bigger now than it ever was. But all they did was show him that you're rich, but you ain't that powerful. Shut up, or we'll destroy your company.
Wow.
And he did. He didn't say nothing. Y2K came in, the FICO system came in, and they left him alone. They never even fined him. But he was in the news every day in the 1999. They're all Microsoft is evil. We're going to break up Microsoft into pieces. Never happened.
So right now, if I understand what you're saying, the algorithms, you know, and first of all, explain what the word algorithm means. You know, explain that, what that actually means.
It's a formula that controls data, that allows you to arrange data in a way that's easy to control or to retrieve. So an algorithm, just think about it as a way to database information in a usable format.
So if I hear what you're saying, Doctor, you know, this is kind of funny, but it's not funny. Okay, but back in, you know, in 1999, if you did not have a computer or access to a computer at that time, you just got left behind overnight.
Yeah.
Essentially.
But they still haven't taught you the credit system. Let me explain this to you. So during times of physical slavery, the slave masters agreed on one thing, and that was don't let the slaves learn how to read, because reading will destroy the slave system. So every slave master around the world, they would kill you if they caught you reading or teaching a slave to read. So let's fast forward to now. We're in a time of financial slavery. There's one thing that every slave master agrees on now. Do not let them learn the credit system. And I'm going to prove that to your audience. I want everybody to Google college, university, or high school offering a class on credit scoring system. See how many colleges, universities, high schools in this entire country that offers a class on the new credit scoring system. Guess how many I found?
Where you found? Go ahead, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I found 0. This is the first time I've ever Googled something and it came back with 0.
Wow.
So if you talk to any educator and you say as a young adult, what is the most important thing in the young adult's financial life? Everybody will say credit. So why aren't you teaching it? If you Google colleges or universities offering a class on knitting a dog sweater, you will see hundreds of universities teach classes on not just knitting, but knitting dog sweaters. So they're saying that is more important than credit.
Okay, Doctor, let's kind of go back, okay, to what you just said here. Now, they have universities, okay, that deal in financial literacy. Am I right?
Yes. Yes.
Now, in that financial literacy, you're saying in that it does not include how to deal with credit.
How to deal with the credit scoring system. Everybody talks about credit, but they teach you the old credit system. They're not allowed to teach you the new credit system. If they did, you would have perfect credit.
That's the one world order.
That is the one world law. Do not teach them people about credit.
That's the one world order. That's the way Satan wanted to keep you like that. That's the system of the devil.
Yeah. It's a one world system.
But that's great. That's Elder Alan Lyles. You know, he's one of my co-hosts here, and and we've been talking about this one world order that you don't hear a lot about it, okay, but it is alive and well.
Yes. They have you busy thinking about other stuff. Just like you said, everybody teaches financial literacy, but how many people are teaching you the FICO credit scoring algorithm? Once you know the algorithm, you know how to fix your credit. And you know how to maintain 800 credit score.
Amen.
Everybody talks about credit. Ain't nobody teaching you credit scoring. No one. I haven't found it course. Other than the one that we teach, I don't know of one in the country.
Okay,
I tried to get my class taught in colleges and universities, and I went to all the historical black colleges, and they agreed. They loved my course. They said, yes, we're going to teach this in the fall, right? This was back 20 years ago. And I got a call like a couple weeks before the fall semester, and they said, hey, we're going to have to pull your course. And I was like, what? And they said, we got a call from a certain bank. I ain't going to say the name of the bank, but this bank called them and said, if you teach Dr. Grace's course, we will pull all our funding. They even told one president, we're going to rip out our ATM machine. That's how serious they are about this.
People, one of the things, let's break this down, why the banks and the colleges have this relationship. When someone goes to college, first thing that they get, okay, when they get on campus, they have orientation, they can get a credit card right away.
Yeah. Without a job.
I said, without a job, and normally you go with $300, $400, I don't know what the limits are, okay, but now you don't have a job, and you got a credit card, and you're saying, I got to buy some books. You use your credit card. Or when I ain't got no money, and I want to go out and deal with my friends, and they got money, I want to use my credit card. And before you know it, your credit card is maxed out.
Yeah.
And then you say, you got to start paying your credit card. And right now, you just found yourself with bad credit.
Yeah.
And so now the bank.
That is the goal. For $300, they have just neutralized everything you hope to do. So you told your kids, go to school, get a good education, but when you graduate with bad credit, you are unemployable. So they just unwound your $50,000, $100,000 education for $300.
Wow.
It's a brilliant.
Right now, the banks are saying they want to rip out them ATM machines, okay, but people can go get money. From when they get money from their parents, whatever, who have bank accounts, and they're using those, okay, to money to their kids, on the college campus. And so the
they just wanted to intimidate them so they wouldn't offer my credit scoring class. They're scared to death. Because if your kids, they go to school, they work hard, they got a good education, but if they have bad credit, they're unemployable or underemployable. So they will still be limited and be part of the financial slavery system. If they came out with top of their class and perfect credit, if you taught the credit scoring class a year before they graduated, they would graduate with top honors and perfect credit. They would be unstoppable in America.
Now, by the way, okay, you listen to the program, and you can get our podcast, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, Spotify. Let me break this down to you. This is not a black issue. It's just on any college campus in the world.
Yes.
No, this is not just something that's dedicated toward black folks. You go to any university, when you get on campus in orientation, you're going to find something there about how you can get a credit card. I know years ago, one of my daughters was visiting one of her cousins. We went for homecoming weekend, and so she was down there. Okay, she came back home. She got a credit card. And she shouldn't have it. And we said, no. You can't use that. No. You know, why can't I say, well, first you ain't got a job. Okay, so that's number one.
Yep.
And I said, when you back up, who's gonna pay for it? I hadn't thought about that. And that's all I'm saying. This is one of those things. And to be honest with you here, we hear a lot of stuff now. We're gonna come back to this in a few minutes, Dr. Man. But since we're talking about colleges now, another thing that most college students, when they are aware, but they don't understand it until they get out of school, and then they got a thing called, they got a college loan they have to pay back for their education.
Yeah.
And that's why one of the things that the Biden administration has been trying to, forgive some of your student debt. And that's money that's student debt is driving down your credit report. And so we're gonna come back to that again also in a few minutes, okay? But I just want to get down to the basics here, okay? And that you can't teach your course in colleges.
They won't allow you to teach credit scoring in college. I dare somebody to try. I would give you my course for free. If you're a college educator, you're high school, I don't care where you are. If you want to teach credit scoring, I will give you a class. I even tried to do this in the prison system. I have a program called Perfect Credit Prevents Crime that I used to teach at the Attorney Generals would invite me every year to teach a class at their national forum. And they loved it, but they never implemented. So a year before you let someone out and release them, the felons, you teach them the credit course and let them fix their credit in jail. So when they come out of jail, they have perfect credit. Because if they come out with a record and bad credit, they're unemployable. So of course they can only go back to crime. That's why you have recidivism rates through the roof. How are they going to get a job? They're a felon with bad credit. Impossible. They have better luck getting struck by lightning. So if you were serious about recidivism, you would make sure they come out with perfect credit. So even if they can't find a job, they could start a business. They could get a small business loan.
Yeah, Doctor. This is such a important thing that we tell the prisoners that we don't want you to come back, okay? Right. So one of the best things you would think, okay, common sense would say, well, while you're in here, you offer all types of classes. So while you're in prison here, some prisons you get a law degree.
Yeah.
And so you're saying they can get a law degree. They can't get something about credit, how to improve their credit.
They can get a class on credit, though. Think about that. What good is a law degree if you have bad credit and you're a felon? Are you starting a law firm? No. You're going to get a job in a law firm? No. You need perfect credit. And anybody in this country can have perfect credit in 3 to 6 months. Anybody that understands this system. In fact,
Wow.
one of the things I want to make sure.
Hey, that could be the mark. That could be the new mark of the beast.
You better not even talk about the number of a man. You better not. Don't even go.
It's talking about the mark of the beast and mankind. Mankind is crooked and wicked and ran by Satan and his demons.
Yep, I'm telling you.
Well,
There's one thing I want to make sure we get out. The CARES Act. So in the country to fight COVID financially, they offered the CARES Act. And listen to how crazy this is. So everybody talks about the CARES Act because it gives you money, right? Everybody talks about the money from the CARES Act program. What they didn't talk about was the fact that the CARES Act was really designed as a credit protection tool. So the CARES Act of 2019 is designed to ensure that you build and maintain perfect credit. So if you Google CARES Act credit protection, so if you were listening to this program and you were impacted financially by COVID, the government allows you to fix your credit instantly.
Okay,
so if you were affected by COVID and you have bad credit, in 3 to 6 months you can have perfect credit. You only have up until May to apply, though. You only have until May. The president just announced he's shutting down the CARES Act. So the CARES Act shuts down when the government officially declares an end to COVID. He said in May he's going to declare into it.
Right.
Not a single person has talked about the credit protection. You have an opportunity to have perfect credit before May. Everybody in the country, everybody listening to your program. In fact, we started a program with the National Black Chamber of Commerce and a couple other very large organizations where we're giving all of their members. So if you're listening and you're a member, ask your leadership about our credit program. We're going to give everybody, I'm not going to say everybody, but we're going to give the first 1 million people perfect credit. We're going to make sure you get an 800 credit score. We're going to give 1 million people 800 credit score before summer.
Okay, now that's one reason, that I invite you to get a guest on my program, because I have to be on a Zoom call. A couple of weeks ago, our chairman of the board, Mr. Nair Ivory, had a Zoom call for leadership here, and I kind of got in late to the call because they moved the time around a little bit, threw me off, but I did get in on the call, okay? It was the good part. Okay, with the good part. Now, having said that, first of all, if you're a member of the National Black Chamber of Commerce or any of our affiliates around the country, around the world, you will qualify to be part of your program. I just played right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is absolutely correct. Every single member.
Okay, now, we tell people this is our program to say something 3 times, all right? So now I'm telling people right now, get your ink pen, get your pencils, get your cell phone, get whatever you can write a number down with, okay? So now, give us a number or some way they can contact you and say it 3 times. Okay, please, sir.
Okay, no problem. So you can call any National Black Chamber of Commerce office, or you can call us directly. Our phone number is 888-551-5533. That number again, 888-551-5533. That's Credit and Debt Management Institute. 888-551-5533. And tell them you want to be included in our million person credit restoration program.
And the National Black Chamber of
Commerce that we do this, I think most people don't realize in this country, and this is why they don't want to teach you credit scoring. In this country, once you hit 720 credit score, you are technically a millionaire in America because you have access to $1 million. So if you're listening to this program and you currently have a 720 credit score and you don't know how to borrow up to $1 million for business or investment, you need to give us a call. But in this program, we're going to give everybody 720 to 850 credit score, and then we're going to monetize their credit and give them up to $1 million. So the goal is 1 million people with access to $1 million, which if you multiply that together, that's a $1 trillion transition of wealth. $1 trillion.
Okay, I'm gonna keep coming back to this, okay? Because one of the things, redundancy, and the more you hear something, the more
yes, sir.
You understand it. And I want people to understand now, you just told us today, I just heard about this past week, the president said that come May, they're going to, in the COVID-19, programs.
Yeah.
So now, if someone listening to us right now on the 4th of February, and they start calling you next week, okay, is it possible for them, okay, to get their score up to a 720?
In 3 to 6 months, every single person that calls today or tomorrow, in 3 to 6 months, the credit protection is built into the CARES Act. You just have to apply the right way. That is it. Guaranteed. There's no mystery. There's no if or no. There's no jumping through hurdles. All you have to do is apply through the CARES Act. That's why nobody will tell you about it. Google it for yourself. Credit protection in the CARES Act. Everybody skips over that. They will never talk about it. Credit protection. It allows you to restore your credit. It is illegal for, if you're in the CARES Act program, it's illegal for a creditor to mark your credit late. They can't even mark you late. They still have to have you paid as agreed, even if you're not paying them. The government anticipated this problem. They know if everybody's broke or sitting at home, shelter at home, shelter in place, they know that your credit's going to go bad, and the government needs you to have good credit so you can buy houses and cars and keep the economy rolling. These guys are on top of their game. We are not on top of our game. We have to use the tools in place. The government has really done an excellent job of giving us, they call them debt filters. So these are programs and laws that help you eliminate your debt completely and restore your credit. You don't need credit repair, bankruptcy, consumer credit counseling. That is crazy that people are applying for those things. You should go anything. If you think you have a student loan problem, like you mentioned this, Google student loan cancellation and forgiveness. That is the key words. If you guys don't remember nothing else from this program, remember the key words: cancellation and forgiveness. Any problem you have, credit card problem, mortgage problem, you Google cancellation forgiveness, and you can find the appropriate program to eliminate your debt. So if you have a student loan problem, or you think you do, which is impossible to have one, you Google student loan cancellation and forgiveness, you'll see the Obama student loan forgiveness program already. The only reason Biden is trying to give you more cancellation and forgiveness is because you ain't using the old stuff. The Obama plan is we use ICR, an income contingent repayment plan for our clients. It will give you a payment, and I want you to Google this for yourself because you ain't gonna believe it. Your payments go to $0 per month. $0. So how can you have a student loan debt problem if your payments are $0 a month? Nobody's using it, and I apologize because I know ain't nobody teaching you. The colleges are scared to teach it. High schools are scared to teach it, and everybody else is making money off your ignorance. But listen to what I'm saying. It is impossible to have a student loan debt problem in America. Impossible. Biden is trying to make it brainless. That's why they're mad at him, because they already gave you the Obama plan, but now he's just trying to wipe it out just with a magic wand, and it extends the wrong signal to the country. In order to get these rewards, you have to be diligent about information. The Bible says that people perish for a lack of knowledge. You have to actively seek this knowledge. Ain't nobody gonna hand it to you or spoon feed it. You know what I'm saying? You got to look for it. Somebody has got to step up and say, hey, let me walk my people through this. And, you know, all you guys in leadership, come on, you got to use these tools to empower the people.
Preach, Grayson. Preach, bro.
Empowerment. Ain't nobody
Preach.
doing it.
Tell them about it.
Yeah. You know, that's why I appreciate you. You know, you heard about it. The first thing you did was say, come on my show and let's talk about it. That takes guts. Most people are scared to talk about this stuff because they don't want to upset the top 1%. They don't want to feel the wrath of folks. But you was like, we're gonna put the truth out there. I'm gonna help my people.
Amen.
Well, that I did too. Okay.
That you is serious about. You know, we've had many conversations, and I don't know if people know your heart and know how serious you are about empowering people. You ain't just talking about it. Everybody else just talking about it.
Well, with Dr. Grayson, I know for a fact, there's no secret, okay? When years ago, back in 2015, when our late founder, Harry Out, came to St. Louis, when the Michael Brown riots, for lack of a better description, this is what it actually was, in our black community. He had asked me to start the Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce, and I told him no about at least 4 or 5 times, you know, because I was a broken neck. And one thing he said to me, that made me rethink that, he said, there are programs, things that can help the state of Missouri, but we have nobody here that can work with that. And he said, well, look at your background and know that you are the type of person, okay, that can do that. Now, having said it, okay, I took that as a sign. And most things, the state of Missouri is normally last, you know, in good news. Our teachers are lowest paid in the country. The federal and the state employees are normally last in pay. And right now, our legislators here in Missouri, they got all type of money from the Biden program, all these programs. The state got money, and they still, the government trying to give the workers a raise, and they refuse to give it to them. People here need health care, they refuse to give it to them. And so in Missouri, I have an uphill battle. And so what I'm doing here in Missouri now is trying to be a beacon with information. And we have programs like we got a program in Haytown, Missouri, where it's a force in the country, in the state. And we trying to go down there and build and empower black people. We got to create opportunities for jobs. You know, for them to get things. And most black businessmen in the city of St. Louis, I did on a survey and read in the paper, I couldn't believe it. Was they make $100,000 a year? And they successful. That ain't no money.
That ain't no money.
It ain't no money. But the banking system here, okay, is such that they don't want people to know what you do. And I want all my members to know
what you to have access to $1 million, because now you control your own financial destiny. All you need is a 720 credit score. That is it.
Well, Dr. Grace, I got several people texting me already in my chamber, okay, saying I want to be a part of Mr. Grayson program. That's the program already. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and so, but what I meant to say is that I'm not behind the 8 ball. I'm not even on the pool table. Yeah. I gotta get into the game. And that's why when I heard your conversation, I knew my people needed what you're doing. And
no, I think you changing the language. That's what you're doing. You're teaching people the language of money.
Mm-hmm. Well, right now, Doctor,
it's funny though. All my relatives, they know me. They know what I do. So I teach them credit, even at a young age. Like I have one of my young niece. Her name is Olivia. She listens to my program and she takes notes. Now she's only 10 years old, but she's serious about credit.
I got a granddaughter. I got a granddaughter like that.
She ain't playing. She a genius. You know, her friends are worried about social media and TikTok. She worried about how she can create inventions, start businesses, how to keep her credit good. That's why she don't really fit in, because they talking about stuff that she considers nonsensical. She want to know how to be successful.
Well, Dr. Grayson, you know, when I was younger, and I know it hasn't changed that much, they were called geeks.
Yeah,
right. They weren't the person that was want to go party all the time. You know, want to go, you know, do this and do that. You know, most of my life, okay, I've been always interested, okay, understanding how stuff works. You know, in my past life with the teachers, you know, I was taught leadership, how to get to organize the people. And so, those skills in Missouri, at our chamber, we don't get a lot of publicity, but we are making changes in our community.
Nice.
Anytime Missouri, we just purchased, land $165,000 and preparing to build a cell on top on that. You know, we already working on putting chambers, in all over the state. Kansas City, we've done great things in Kansas City. But the good thing about it, Dr. Grace, I like to say to people, we're not in debt to nobody.
There you go.
Now, do we have any money? No. But we're still not in debt, and we're still doing stuff.
Yeah.
We're still trying to make stuff happen.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And I like right now, to be here in Missouri, you know, I have no problem talking to our state legislators here, education people here. While they're fighting it right now, it's just piece of pitiful about this, about what's being taught, you know, Black history and stuff. Well, they definitely don't want to talk about financial literacy.
Oh, get out of here. No.
You know, and we both know that, so right now, that's not even in the discussion.
Yeah.
And if we can sort of discuss, you know, any kind of way here, that's what I want you to tell people right now. Like right now, I got people in my chamber saying right now, count me in.
Yes, sir.
You know, and I'm saying, yes, you are in. Okay? And that's one of the benefits of joining the NASDAQ Chamber of Commerce affiliates. Like the one we have in St. Missouri.
Yeah, your chamber is doing something. You're not just, everybody talk about we're going to empower small businesses, but it's just a conversation. You know, I applaud you creating programs like this to get real-time solutions now in the next 3 to 6 months.
That's why right now, what I did with you, my conversation saying, I want you to have a program on a radio station where you can speak freely, about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing here now, we speaking freely, We don't have no filter on what we saying here. And that's why I said, when we talking to the world here, like, a free voice, talk about what you need to know.
Amen.
Credit right now is one of the things that when people understand, you buy a car, when you buy a house, you go for a job, and anything that you do, they checking your credit score.
Yeah.
Now, do they tell you that? No, they do not. That's what I said.
When you go to the hospital, hospital, I had a client who, this is she used to come into our office, her and her husband, and they would cuss and scream. They was very angry, and they came to talk to me. I was like, you only been in my program for 2 months. You know it works because you were referred by somebody else. How you cussing and screaming? And then the wife started crying. She said she had terminal cancer. There was one experimental treatment that she wanted to take that could save her life, but because her credit was bad, they wouldn't let her in because her insurance didn't cover it, and she couldn't get patient financing. So she was like, if you don't hurry up and fix my credit, I could die. That's how serious. That's why we're very serious about credit.
And that's why I got you on the program today, Doc. That's why I got you here today. And I remember I told you, normally I come on at 1:45. I want you to come on at 1:30. You know what I mean? And then today the devil been busy, okay? We have not had any problems since 2015, okay? Getting on the air at our right time. But for some reason, the computer didn't want to work right. It never happened before.
The enemy.
They know the enemy ain't trying to have it.
Right.
As long as you're talking about other stuff, he don't care. But when you talk about real change, he get real upset.
Yes, he do. He sure do.
And if you notice right now, I did ask Reverend Lau put his short to make sure we had time. I cut out what I normally talk about, so I want to make sure at 1:30 that you had the time I promised to you.
Right.
Because the most important thing people hear today is that you telling our members, okay, that they can get this, they qualify for this program.
If you listen to this program and you don't have 800 credit score by May, that is your own fault. If you don't have 800 credit score and you don't have access, I'm not saying everybody should run out and borrow $1 million. That's not what I'm saying. But you should have the capacity to do that if you need to. If you're listening, if you're a believer, if you love God and you worship Christ, I guarantee you have some type of witty idea or invention or business plan that could make you very successful. But what's stopping you is you're cut off from access to capital. So once you get free and you got your 800 credit score and we've set you over some of our banking relationships, and somebody says, hey, look, yeah, you qualify for $500,000, watch what happens in your life. Stuff will start happening. You'll get land deals like you're talking about. I mean, things will open up at a level that you have not imagined. Please.
Also, Doctor, that's continue to dig deep here, okay? When I say I want to dig deep, okay? Well, what we haven't talked about that really got my attention when I tuned into the program, to the Zoom call a week or so ago. You went into the Bible, and somehow I'm the Bible. Well, the Bible tells you that after so many years, your credit is clean. Talk about that if you don't mind.
Okay. So one of the things that I teach people so that they understand, one of the programs we just talked about is called debt filtration. So debt filtration is a system of 48 government programs and laws that actually pay all the bad debt you can't pay. Bankruptcy is not a debt filter. Consumer credit counseling, none of that. The government, even if you owe taxes, I hope you guys are not paying back taxes. You should file for offer in compromise. So that program reduces your tax debt 90%. 90. Okay? So everybody always say, well, Doc, wait a minute, that don't sound right. The government's going to pay all my back taxes. Why? That's what everybody want to know. Why would the government pay all my bad debts? Why would they help me have good credit? So I let them know there's two reasons. The first reason is because God said so. Don't forget, this country was started by people who came from debt oppressive societies, and they were very religious folk. Okay? So they structured our government based on biblical principles. So there's two biblical principles in the Bible that shape our entire economy. And I want you guys to have this. Okay, write this down, please. Luke 7:41 to 42. Luke 7:41-42 says, a certain creditor had two debtors. One owed 500 denarii and the other 50. When they could not pay, he canceled the debt for both of them. That is why the government cancels your debt. And the only requirement for any debt filter is you can't pay. Just like with the CARES Act debt filter. If you can't pay your bills, the government asks them to put you in a cancellation or forgiveness program. Okay? The second passage is Deuteronomy 15:2. Deuteronomy 15:2 says, at the end of every 7 years, you shall grant a remission of debt. This is the manner of remission. every creditor shall release what he has loaned to his neighbor. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or his brother, because the Lord's remission has been proclaimed. That's why your credit is supposed to reset itself every 7 years, because God said so. You wonder where that number came from, 7 years. You thought the government made it up. No. Deuteronomy 15:2. So the number one reason that the government cancels your debt and forgives your debt is because God said so. The second reason is because we're a capitalist country. We're not a democracy. We're a capitalist society.
Amen. I always say that it's a capital system. Always.
It's a capitalist system. So in the capitalist system, in our economy, it's driven by home and car sales. The government don't care about nothing else but how many new homes and new cars are sold, because that tells how healthy the economy is. And unfortunately for the government, in order to sell houses and cars, you need low debt and good credit. So fixing credit and eliminating your debt is the government's job. It ain't even your job. That's the government's job. You know, one of the things that I teach in my class is that your only job as a U.S. citizen is to use the credit and debt system to access capital and create debt. So the system is designed that when you get in bad debt or heavy debt and bad credit, it's designed to clean it for you so you can start again and try again. And you keep trying until you can acquire assets, build your credit, leverage your assets, and create even more good credit, and then become prosperous. So the system is designed that way. But what happens for African Americans especially, not just African Americans, but for us especially, after you get bad credit, heavy debt, you fall off the chart. You start doing bankruptcy, credit repair, all that crap that don't work, whereas the people that know activate the proper government debt filtration program to eliminate your debt and fix your credit. You can't pay off all that bad debt. It's impossible.
Okay, now Doctor,
is filter it.
Okay, now Doctor, if you be so kind, why don't you explain the language, okay, that if you have a credit card or some other type of business of debt that you have, how after certain time, how that actually works, in everyday people.
Okay, so you have a credit card. You're paying the credit card. Something happens, you can't pay. After 120 days of non-payment, that debtor will usually charge the debt off. What does charge off mean? Everybody uses that word. It means they take a pre-tax charge against their earnings. So if you talk to your accountant, that's the good kind, pre-tax charge. So the government is reimbursing the creditor for you not paying. Now, in order for him to do that, he has to actually cancel your debt. And in order to prove that, the government makes them issue a 1099-C. I want you guys to Google 1099-C. It is a cancellation of debt. So if the debt is canceled, this is what I ask people every day. How can you pay a debt that is canceled? Why are you trying to pay a debt that is canceled? Because you don't understand the system. Once the debt is canceled, you have to send the proper documentation to the creditor and, to eliminate the debt completely and legally. Then it's gone. So what we do, and you'll see through our program, we don't do credit repair, because credit repair is unfortunately fraud. So credit repair people tell the credit bureaus that this account is not mine. That is your account. You know you ain't paying them people. That is fraud. That's fake fraud. What we do is if you issued a 1099-C and you canceled that debt, you can no longer hold me accountable. So we have the creditors remove the debt legally. Now it's gone. Now that's the right way to do it. So you have there's 48 of these debt filters. That's why I'm saying Google them. If you have trouble, if you can pay your bills, pay your bills. I ain't telling you not to. I pay all my bills. I ain't never late. But if something happened, like when I went to the hospital, I was in the hospital for over a year with a very bad infection, right? And so worried and stressed out because I can't pay my bills. They're going to repossess my car. No, because as soon as I get out of the hospital and go back to work, I know I can use a debt filter to eliminate all that bad debt, restore my credit, and I'm back in business.
Now, how do you do that?
That is the world.
Explain us. Okay, first of all, okay, now, when people get these letters from these agencies trying to collect a debt from a credit card, talk about that.
Okay, this is the biggest scam on the planet, or one of the biggest scams. Debt collection scam. I'm gonna give you a couple things to reference because we gotta free our people from debt collection scams. So in this country, there's two kinds of debt. There's legal debt and technical debt. A legal debt means you have the legal standard for proof of indebtedness that's dictated by state and federal law. So in order to collect the debt, you have the legal standard. Everything else is a technical debt. Let me give you an example. If you're listening to this program right now, you owe me $1,000. That is not illegal for me to say that. I can say everybody listening to the show owe me $1,000. I can even send you a collection letter and say, give me my $1,000. But legally, I have to tell you that this is a technical debt. This is not a real debt. That's why every collection letter has one statement on it. It says, unless you notify this office within 30 days after receiving this notice, you dispute the validity of this debt or any portion thereof, this office will assume this debt is valid. That turns this piece of paper into a contract. The contract is giving you two choices: pay the debt or simply dispute it. You can pay it or dispute it. But because they know no one ever taught you credit, you don't know how to dispute it. So you pay it. That is crazy and insane. You got a choice to either pay it or dispute it. Let me prove more to you. I want you to pull out some debt letters. Call your friends and family. I want you to eliminate everybody you know's bad debt. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Okay, if you look at any debt collection letter, it says the named creditor has placed this account with our office for collection. Now notice they said they placed it with our office. They placed it. That is a legally technical word, placed. It's legally proficient. It's legally accurate. Legally accurate. They didn't say that they bought the debt. They didn't say that they were hired to collect the debt, because both of those are lies. They allow you to lie to yourself. They didn't tell you that they bought this debt and now it's their debt and you got to pay them. That is a lie. The debt's been canceled. They didn't tell you that the creditor hired them to collect the money you owe. That is a lie. What they did tell you is, I don't know how the hell it got it. I'm sorry. I don't know how this debt got in my office.
You can say, doctor, we real people here. You can say that.
Okay, all right, because, you know,
and that describes the
you
situation.
don't understand how many people is paying this fraud money. So the second sentence in every one of these says, if you choose not to respond to this notification, we will assign your account to a collector with instructions to collect the balance. Now, listen to what they said. If you choose not to respond, then they will assign it to a collector. If you really owe the money, as soon as they got the collection, they would say, go collect my money. But what they're waiting for is for you to create a debt where none exists. Listen very carefully. When you first got the letter, you ain't owe nobody nothing. But by waiting 30 days without notifying them, disputing it in writing, you created a debt where none existed. So back to my original example. If I say, listen, everybody listening to this program owe me $1,000, I can send you the same letter. If you don't respond in writing and dispute, hey, Dr. Gracie, you crazy, I ain't never agree to pay you $1,000. If you don't do that in writing, then legally you owe me $1,000, and I can take you to court and garnish your wages. People,
that's awful.
that is all they're doing. It don't matter what the number is. They only list the previous creditor to lock it into your mind to make you think that this is a real debt. This is a technical debt. It's legally uncollectible.
You know, Doctor, one of the things I consider myself to be, I'm always learning, a wordsmith. And that means you have to understand how to use words. By the way, words. By the way, I'm happy to say that we've been joined by our CEO of the National Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Chuck Dubai. Hey, good, Chuck.
Good afternoon, and hello, Dr. Grayson. Great to hear you.
Hey, how are you, sir?
Yes.
Hey, Chuck!
Reverend. The right Reverend.
The right Reverend. Okay, well, Chuck, Dr. Grayson been on since 1:30, okay? And I tried to have a continuation,
Yes,
but one
sir.
thing that...
Let's do this again. Let's do it again.
Okay, and one of the things that we told everybody that's hear our voice, if you remember the NASDAQ Chamber of Commerce, any of our affiliates, okay, you can get this program, get your debt counted for free.
Yes.
And I know, and that's something that I already asked from Texas already. Okay, people saying, "Can I?" I said, yes. And so now, welcome to the program as usual. Okay, and so now you on the call with me a couple weeks ago. We had Dr. Grayson as a guest speaker. With our chairman, Mr. Iris. So now, what some things you want to talk about him with? Okay, about the thing that he's doing.
Well, there is the immediate tangible value that it has to each individual.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it should be clear, and if not, we can continue to make it clear. But with the investment that you would have in this program, there is a tangible goal or product that you're going to come away with. And a higher credit score means, first of all, less expense in your living, in the way you go about doing. But we'll talk a little bit just for a moment about what it means to your business. And Dr. Grayson, I'm sure you mentioned about the 720 score or the benchmark. And just right there alone, if we're able to convene or bring together 100 people out of the Missouri Black Chamber, or start with 10, and the 10 can show to other people what they were able to do, but to have access to $1 million is significant if all you had to do was make some changes and basically elevate your knowledge that allows you to collateralize your resources. So a 720 score automatically will get you qualified for $1 million access to credit or access to capital. And as you do that and we put it together, then we have an opportunity to create our own banking guidelines, our own banking opportunities, our own sources for capital. And initially, we're looking to go nationally and get 10,000 businesses to do that. That would allow us to start a capital fund. And the fund could be in the form of a bank, but it would be designed and missioned for capital access to our members, our constituency, our concerns, our interests, which then, all the way back to what we've been talking about, is the integrity, the infrastructure, the substance within our own communities. And that's what we're talking about in one way or another every day. It's in the news, whether we're talking about political disposition. I mean, Ira, we've been talking about why, for what reason would we need in this point in time to reverse Roe versus Wade? Why?
Can you imagine?
Yeah. And why would Governor Santos decide that he doesn't want Afro-descendant history no longer a part of the curriculum? Well, it's because we're getting too smart. or the amount of news or information has come so readily available that whether you go to school or not, it comes into your life. We talk about everything from mental health to food security to why are the police doing what they're doing in such a way and getting away with it? And what are the consequences and what accountability do we have? We're talking about with our Black business certification, we're talking about our own data, our own tracking, policing and holding ourselves accountable first. When we talk about why would the National Black Chamber of Commerce partner with the National Business League to form the National Alliance for Black Business that then introduced the Black Business Enterprise certification and to come with a scorecard? And lo and behold, within hours, within 24 hours of announcing that, we have Fortune 500 companies. I'm talking about Fortune 10, Fortune 5, the biggest of the companies, contacting us and saying they'd very much like to have the information and they very much like to know about it because they're having challenges with their own vendor, their diversity. I mean, if you think about it, right now, everybody's in a bucket for minority. And when I say everybody, I mean you've got more white folks as minorities now because you could be a woman, you could be a veteran, you could be LBGT, and you're still in there. I mean, I was talking to a guy this week that was Black, gay, veteran, I mean, every kind of certification and set aside or merit badge he could get. He was getting it, and he still wasn't getting the type of contracting opportunity he thought he should have. But in the end, we all need the money. We all need the access. But if we were to raise not only our financial coefficient, but raise our intellectual coefficient of understanding society and what role we could play in it, that if we were to command that $1 trillion power that we have in our spending and bring it back within our own community, we would just blow right by everybody else out.
Yes.
So I'm going to leave it with that, gentlemen, at this point, because I can go on and talk about the needs, but really what we're talking about here is a call to action.
Well, right now, like I said, I got several members already contacting me, okay, saying count me in already, here in the selection conference. And I know there will be other people, but I think I told him that when I met him on our call a couple weeks ago, come here. I was on our show, we talk facts to facts. We want people to know why they're not getting, why they've been treated the way they've been treated. And how can they do something about it? How can they do something about it, And this, to me, is a remedy for that. We're not just talking smack or BS, okay? We're saying, here's somebody right now that can change your life. And if you're a member of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, or you're a member of the National Chamber of Commerce out of Illinois, out of Georgia, Delaware, wherever, okay? We are trying to talk to our memberships around the world, and not just in this country, over in Bogota, Colombia, places like that. So where you been?
Amen.
So one of the things, okay, Dr. Grace, I'm not sure you're aware, Chuck is, I call him this for years, he's a global ambassador.
Okay.
I can't count the countries Chuck has been to. Matter of fact, down in Bogota, in Colombia, our former leaders, Harry Alfred K. Bo, Alfred, their message they taught down in Colombia was the reason now that they have a black, switchback female president of their country. Tell them about that, Chuck.
We're in a changing time globally, and when I say that, I'm not really saying the aggregate of the globe. I'm saying the common denominator of the human spirit, the human existence. You know, we could go back maybe 10 years, and with the advent of social media, there were things happening like the Arab Spring. And they pushed back, but they were able to organize, and the students were able to lead the way, and women started saying, no, we have rights. Something similar was happening with the Black Lives Matter movement, if we want to call it or characterize that. But it was in response to an economic disposition meeting a showcasing of systemic racism put right in our face and brought into everybody's living room. Everyone said, oh my God, this is terrible. We got to do something about it. Well, in Colombia, they had these other things that they were seeing, let's say, that were in the common denominator of the human spirit, the human existence. Colombia as a country had been experiencing over 50 years of civil war that really wasn't publicized as such. They tried to make it seem like it was about the drug dealers, the narcos economy versus the established economy. And really, there was so much have-nots that were on one side of the line that they just kind of fell in, and it just happened to be all the money that was coming through with the drug economy that they can't deny was part of their country. So to make a longer story short, there were guerrillas, and the guerrillas eventually got to the point to where the government said, you know what, we would like to have peace. We want to stop the war. What do we do? So two of the leaders got together, one, President Petro, and he selected a black woman to be his vice president, and they were pretty much following the American blueprint of how Kamala Harris got there. And even before Kamala Harris, there was FC Campbell-Barr out of Costa Rica, and all of them kind of got there on a people's rights type of agenda that was inclusive of people's rights, not just black or not just one ethnic group. So anyway, this group got elected as and totally was like a leftist. These were people that had previously been carrying AK-47s and challenging the status quo, challenging the haves for how they had disenfranchised the rest of the country. And basically the poor people got together, voted together, and got their candidates in office. And one of the first things that started happening when they got in office is they were talking about reparations. And they went further to say, we're not just going to talk about it, we're going to do something about it. And one of the first things they did was they began to buy land back from the people they felt were holding lands that really truly had belonged to disenfranchised people. So that's through some of the black areas, through some of the indigenous areas. And they would buy the land and then turn around and give it to the disenfranchised folks. And they would then say to the National Black Chamber of Commerce, can you help us monetize this value? So these people aren't just given land and then here comes a tax assessment or other liabilities that go with being landowners while you're sitting there scratching your head trying to figure out, how do I monetize? What do I do with it? And so one of the things we've been able to do is to talk not only to the American government, but to some of the branches where we have food shortages. And as crazy as it is, America has the capacity to feed ourselves 5 times over. But for all the various reasons, we're not doing that. We actually got people starving. I mean, they're calling it food insecurity. But you're talking about going to school hungry, being there. There used to be, during the pandemic and right after the pandemic, you could go to school and get a breakfast and get a lunch, regardless of what was going on at your house or what your economic disposition was. Well, those programs are being cut out. So now there's over $5 billion worth of vegetables and fruit, things that need to be purchased by the military. We can't feed our troops to go anywhere or threaten to go anywhere because the Chinese, everybody knows that we can't feed them, so they can't move. They can't do anything. So we've been buying a lot of products from Chile. When you go in your grocery store and you look at let's say a tomato or a orange or something, you look at the little stamp on it, it tells you where it came from. And some of them have been trying to buy these fruits from other places to an American company and then put their stamp on it. But the USDA said, no, we need to know the origins of it, where it came from. So with that, we do have large-scale farmers that are already with USDA certification, and they are selling to the government now. But we're looking at how we're able to take the smaller farmers, include them in this larger economic piece that then becomes economic empowerment, that raises the whole value, the GDP of that country. But she's going, Francia Marquez is her name. She's going to the UN, and she's looking for all the major countries around the world to forgive the debt to the smaller countries and to offer reparations. So there have been these sorts of discussions here, but part of we're going to connect the dots a little bit here. So why might you not want your children to know about the history of slavery? Well, if you're not black, or if you are or not, you're going to have a feeling about this one way or the other. And it just so happens that in an environment where we can give $40 billion to Ukraine, we can invite these African presidents here like they did in November, and have 44 countries come here and give each one $1 billion. But we still haven't figured out how to feed people that actually have jobs and can work, not to mention the homeless. We don't have that in the mix. So we're saying reparations may not be such a bad thing if I understand what is all involved. And that's why they don't want you to know about it as a child coming up, or as a fresh, neutral mind being programmed with information. They want to control what information you're exposed to. And whether you get it in school or whether you get it off of TV or wherever, you eventually going to figure it out, because everybody else in the world is being taught this. They know what happened here, and they know how in the world did these black people get all over the world that are all from Africa. So we've got over 200 million Afro descendants just through Latin America alone. But they'll tell us here in America, well, it's only about 33. Maybe we'll give you a benefit of the doubt. Might be 40 million of you in the U.S., but it's 330 million. Yeah, that's if you don't count everybody else. There's 150 to 200 million black folks in Nigeria alone. So what happens when we get our credit together? What happens when we start and able to communicate? What happens if we actually own some land, or we got some commerce or some business or some things that we can do with each other? All of a sudden, what we think matters. And we're not just being led around or told to stay up on your porch and we'll deliver you a box of cheese or whatever the welfare program is promising, and get you complacent to do that, because you at the same time, you're trying to figure out how these people don't work and be driving all kind of nice cars, be going all over the world doing things. It's like, what's going on in society? And at the same time that we're talking about a lack of food, so, okay, now you got your little money, but you go to the grocery store and say a dozen eggs might be $7. And you're saying, wow, I got some money, but now what do? Do I pay my rent? Do I pay my utilities? Or are we just going to have to cut back on some food? Because we just don't have enough, because the game is designed with just you can see it, you can smell it, but it's just beyond your reach. So anyway, I'm going off on tangents and talking about a lot of different things, but it all comes back to the point. That is our mission: economic empowerment, entrepreneurs. And that's really what we got at the core.
I guess I'm saying that the Grace Chuck just gave you a demonstration, okay, how powerful the blacks can be if they come together. And that's the mission, okay,
yes,
that
sir.
Chuck has taken. And that's why, I was on the call with you a couple weeks ago. You did not understand the dynamics, okay? Like right now on this station today, okay, you may not have a lot of listeners today, okay, but we on Spotify. You can find us on Apple.
Yes.
Your message right now, okay, is codified in history. That you can refer people to this to us right now by saying, lunch with them, do like human commerce. And here you're talking about financial literacy in the way it is as black folks. There's no place else. It may give you a 15-minute break someplace, a 5 minutes someplace, but you have had over an hour right now to talk about what we needed to talk about that hadn't been talked about.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we do here, all right, Chuck?
Absolutely.
You know, it's no secret, okay, that like you said before, you know, information. And we want people to hear what Dr. Grayson is doing.
Amen.
Because Dr. Grayson said, you grow, we grow.
Yes, sir.
That's how it works. Now, you have people, okay, if our members, they have them understood. They can say, guess what? The NASDAQ team coming, you have me get my credit together with Dr. Grayson. I'm going to get for me. I mean, most chambers you get into, okay, you know, they saying they're going to help you, but we can report the direct community credit card. It don't like just change around. And guess what? I can't remember the back human commerce. Or either Illinois or Delaware or either Wisconsin, Georgia. And that's my goal, okay, with our members, okay, is to hear who didn't hear what you talked about a couple weeks ago. That make good sense to you, Doctor?
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
That's the plan. You know, that's the plan. Like I said, this is not be a one-shot wonder. You know, in music, okay, a lot of people that were one-shot wonders. Well, you're not going to be a one-shot wonder for what I'm concerned. Like I said, we don't have to be the biggest chamber, right? It's Secretary, okay? But we're doing a whole lot of stuff other chambers not doing. We're trying to empower our members, okay? Like I say in Missouri, we don't have a lot of black business owners, okay, that are independently owned, they actually own their own company. So we got to create that. And right now, when you have to get their credit together, it goes a long ways, okay, to make them really independent.
Amen.
And that's what
because you're trying to be easier for you to mobilize quicker and get things done just because you are small.
Right. Oh, that's why we're not complaining. No, we're not complaining, okay? We kind of under the radar. The project in Haytown, Missouri, we already got the first piece, okay, with $9 million. And we're building down the 8 units of affordable housing. And that's right outside of Memphis.
Folks, I hate to say this, but I need to remind you of the clock on the wall.
Just 5 minutes, okay. And right now, Dr. Grayson, that complex that we built will be named after Dr. You can call him Dr. Bishop Lawrence Woodson, who was like one of the number 3 in the Church of God in Christ. And we're going to honor that man, okay? I think that's him. Like, can I do it in St. Louis? No. But right now, Haytown is on 100 miles from Memphis, Tennessee, where the Church of God in Christ is based at. So y'all can come up to Haytown and see what a black man has done. One of their members. And so we empower people that if I can do it, if I can do it, Chuck can do it, you can do it, but you got to put your mind to it, right, Chuck?
That's right. That's right. I'd like to just take the last few minutes here, Ira, and say
all yours.
Well, I just want to say how do we call this to action? You know, I'm going to defer it to you and Dr. Grayson to pull the programming component together, make whatever arrangements or relationships are needed so that we can continue to prototype this program and see if we can get a model, a test going right here from Missouri Black Chamber of Commerce. We're going to stay on it and focus it, but we want to show proof of concept that we can take it around the rest of the country.
Yes.
Yeah, man. That's great. If you offer that, I'm offer that.
Beautiful.
You got to start someplace. Well, I mean, Rivers is in, Scott is in, okay, and, you know, and we all remember the back team with Conway, so. And
Ira, we're gonna also offer the Black Business Enterprise Certification to all those businesses that sign up for this program. The certification is free, but you have to be a member, a part of one of the hosting or sponsoring organization, which is the National Black Chamber and our Federation of Chambers. So Missouri Black Chamber would be one of those. But in order to gain access to these programs, these opportunities, it has to come from within. It has to come from within your organization, and they're welcome to become a member of the organization in order to get it. But after that, we're not charging for the certification, but we are going corporations and target different people to accept and recognize this certification.
Yeah, I mean.
Amen.
Amen.
Dr. Grayson, are you in?
Yeah, I'm in 100%. Whatever you need from me, you know you got it.
Okay, well, you know, Chuck is my leader, okay? When he gives me assignments, you know, Chuck I go to work.
Thank you so much.
Okay, well, I think right now the clock on the wall, someplace on the wall, is saying that we're in that last hour there. But Dr. Grayson, I want to thank you for taking the time today, okay, on your busy schedule, you know, to come to us, you know, and say, we've been heard on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. You know, you can hear it on our podcasts. And, you know, they're putting not Missouri Chamber of Commerce, okay? And they're going right now, they're going to see your picture on the wall, okay? So they're going to see who you are. And so, thank you for taking the time, okay? I think Reverend Elder Loud, I think Scott Warren, because today, we're acting crazy. We're acting crazy, but Scott got it together. Okay, so,
Amen.
You know, and we think our illustrious CEO took you both and taking the time on this schedule. My name is Aaron Folks. You know, I'm here to serve. You know, we stay here in Missouri. You know, right now we're here to serve. We always have prayers our best down. Listen, lunch Missouri Chamber of Commerce bring us at USAHotCourier.com. And we're on that note, we said life is good, and talk to you again next week.
Yeah, man.
Dr. Grayson, again, thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Life should be safe.
Thank you.